Hello, golfers. Welcome back to JD Golf TV. I'm John Dunigan, your guide to playing better, faster. Today's lesson is on something terribly important that, just like the grip, is so underrated in importance that it can ruin your golf game. It's ball location. Now, ball location has two aspects to it. One is distance from the ball, but the other one, our lion's share of this lesson, is on distance front to back of your stance. And it only affects your contact, your club path, and your club face. Other than that, ball location is not important. I have marked up spots for my toes, the toes of my shoes, so that I have the same, well, folks, this is not too scientific, but it's close. My toes are in the same spot for each golf ball. I have three balls from the overhead view. My three golf balls are forward, one ball backward of that, and one ball back of that. So basically, we have forward, a little less forward, and right about the middle of the stance, a little bit farther back. And what I wanted to do was, while trying my very best not to alter my swing at all, show you what happens if I'm a little bit lackadaisical and I let the ball slip in my stance. Did you ever hit a ball, by the way, hit into the trees? You played the ball way back in your stance in order to hit the ball low under the trees and cold top the darn thing? I know you have. I think today's discussion is going to help you understand just what happened. So, normal stance with ball number one. Now, you're going to notice that this left foot is pointed out toward the target, but that's called a foot flare. And folks, the fact is, if I don't flare that foot out, when I get to here, boy, that locks up this hip and I'll never be able to turn. So either foot flared out encourages me to turn. So right foot turned in, I am limited how much I can turn there and it's hurtful. But if I turn it out a little more, I can turn much more freely. That's just a fact. The foot flare has to do with ankle, knee, and hip. Really, really, really big deal. So the foot's flared out. The right foot is flared out a little less. That's the ball location for the first golf ball. And let's give it the business done again and see what we hit. That felt pretty good, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. Well, we had a standard draw path of 3 degrees. Face angle was a little bit closed. The ball ended up 29 feet left of target. Okay, fine. I can handle that. It's just what it did. Okay. What we're going to do now is hit ball number two. So same stance to the best of my ability. Okay. We have a new ball location. Let's see what happens. That path suddenly went much farther out to the right. Ball curved 45 feet, was hit really super duper solid, and ended up, oh my gosh, the same amount left, about 28 feet left. And that's something. Wow. Notice the path went way farther out to the right. Now, ball number three. So again, feet in the same relative position, at least as best I can. And now we have the ball. Looks to me, if we were to do this and find out, hey, your shirt buttons, as we'll talk about in a little bit, are going to be real important in your golf game. That ball is darn near just ahead of my shirt buttons. So it really is very close to dead center of the stance. Now, let's give it the business again, folks. Let's see what I got for you. Okay, with the ball, another ball back, the path went 8 degrees out to the right. Gosh, I must be on fire today. And it drew back. I had a bigger, the curve was only 21 feet, still went almost 160. Huh, the path changed. Somehow my brain is arranging for me the path relative to the face. I got no explanation for that. None. Just so you know, none. But the path changed each time. And that is something that we could definitely expect. Now, I think most people, if they get the ball too far back, the path's going to go out to the right and the face is going to go out to the right. It's going to be a straight push. After you've hit a straight push, it would be very much in your best interest to do two things. Number one, oh, I hit it solid. Oh, no, it's in the right tree line. Then before you get out of there, maybe deflare your feet. Don't move your heels, just move your toes. Lay the club down across your toes on the ground and check to see if you weren't aimed there to begin with. After that, I check my ball location, like particularly off a drive, right, to see if that tee was way back in my stance, because I can definitely do that. I got two things that help me hit it right when I miss a right so-called push. I'm aimed there, number one. I'm a pretty good right aimer. Number two, ball's a little bit back in the stance. And with a driver, I'm telling you right now, one ball back in the stance with a driver, that golf ball's going to go 30 to 40 yards farther to the right than you think. Hopefully, you organize the face relative to it and you just hit a big hook and it's back in play. Otherwise, it's straight into the trees. Now, why is this so? Let's go back to several weeks ago, the law of the circle. Hopefully, you'll remember my little tool, the arc. Folks, this is a tremendous amount of what I know about the game of golf, is this geometry of this circle. It's really, really important. So if we put this right up to the line, now wait a minute. If I'm here, if I may, can I just for making sense of this, can I just move this ball over to the other side? Now we have 5 different ball locations. Folks, check this out. If I put this arc right up against it, do you see how these golf balls will be altered where they're hitting? They're being hit upon this arc. So the ball position that's really far forward, the path will be moving more left. Faders might want to use a more forward ball location. Unless they're playing what's called a push fade. That means it starts to the right of their aim and they're just aimed way left. Let's ignore that for now. And a drawer might have it more back, but you still have to organize the face relative to it because at first here, this golf ball doesn't really know, this golf club doesn't know that the ball's too far forward on the arc. So if I'm going to hit a fade, I move the ball maybe a whole ball forward, but I get the face a little bit more open. That creates the open face relative to the path. The face is right of the path. Path left, face less left, fade. Draw, depending, all things being equal, back of the stance a little more, the club will be moving more on the outward part of the arc, and that helps my path go for a draw path to the right of the target. I have to organize my face a little left of that. So that's face to the right, path even righter. And that's a draw. Folks, what I'm finding is many golfers are just like with the grip. They're not really paying attention very well. They just kind of hold on to it. They're not really paying attention very well. They just kind of stand somewhere in the vicinity of the golf ball. But you're changing the very nature of your swing, which is the law of the circle. You're changing where you're hitting the golf ball in that circle. It's no good for your health. How can you be consistent-ish? Consistency probably isn't coming, but we can be consistent-ish at this game when you don't locate the ball in a similar fashion all the time. It's not coming. It's even harder when you're inconsistent with your stupid stuff, the setup stuff, grip, stance, alignment. Yes, those things are important. Those things may not be the same for everybody, but whatever works for you, you need to keep repeating it for goodness sakes. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. Okay, a little fancier, and to give ourselves a little bit better feedback for ball location and perhaps even ball distance, let's use a tee. So we have now 2 alignment sticks, and I want you to do me a favor. Please don't get so close to this stick that on the follow through you start to nudge it, because I've seen it too many times where the next thing I know, the alignment stick is facing over this way or that way, and the golfers can't figure out why. It's amazing. Remember, 30 some years of doing this. It's amazing how often people ignore the stupid stuff and they start picking on their golf swing way out of order. You're out of order, Your Honor. Get stuff straight. So, what I would do is I would give it to Jim Furyk. I learned this many moons ago from Jim Furyk himself. I watched him doing this. He points his foot straight in, which is cool. Then he flares it out. I thought that was genius. I thought that was absolute genius because, as we discussed earlier, that ball looks totally different now than it does now, doesn't it? That looks more like in the middle of my stance, but nope, it's way forward. I hope that makes some sense to you. And Furyk had every single ball location written on his alignment stick. How about that? He had a ruler that he would bring out to practice with him. Probably still does. We can have this setup make ourselves so much more consistent. You want to hit the ball more consistently-ish, right? Consistency is not coming, I guarantee you that. But semi-consistent, consistent-ish is coming if you set up the same way every time. But folks, most folks aren't even holding the damn golf club the same way every time. What are we going to do about that? It's horrible. So we're not set up the same way. We don't locate the ball the same way. We don't align to the target the same way. And we wonder why our brain, when your brain is trying to solve problems and your brain is trying to come up with a compensation for your misalignment, missetup every damn ball. Good God, golf's already hard enough, isn't it? So you might do something like this. Well, that'd be really forward, right? And you give it a shot. You might go more, hey, let's try dead center. Reach it and see what happens. There's no right ball location. It doesn't have to be anywhere. It has to work for each individual golfer because we all move differently. Now, I would say this. I know you've heard that folks will change both feet for the ball position. I find that, and this is not the only way, but I'm just going to give you what I do. I find that's too much for me. What I like to do is move my feet quite narrow inside the hip bones for short irons. I might get hip bones for like a 7, 8 iron. I might start to get 6 and 5 all the way outside the hips just barely. That's my heels versus my hips, a little wider. By the time I get to the driver, but I would say all long clubs would be this wide. I won't widen it for a 3 wood. I don't even use a 3 wood. I use a 4 wood or hybrid. And my driver goes outside the shoulders. Got that? Move just this foot. It's much simpler. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So, folks, how far you stand from that golf ball is going to have a lot to do with whether you can hit the ball or not. If you're too far away, you might try to throw yourself off balance in order to find impact. You might hit it off the toe. You might chronically hit thin shots just because you're standing too far away. If you're too close to the golf ball, well, you're probably a little bit better off a smidge too close to the ball than you are a smidge too far away from the ball. I'll give you that one. But if you're too close, you are prone to shanks. Everybody likes to hit a good shank every once in a while, right? That'll scare the crap out of you on a golf course. Well, it's very easy to just walk in too close. And I know you sometimes hear stuff like let your arms hang down naturally. I've got to tell you that I'm not sure that's correct. Now that can work for really, really high level golfers who turn beautifully through the golf ball because they're moving away from the golf ball as the club comes into impact. But most of us normal people, remember, those guys and girls on TV are not normal. We can't move like they do. Let's face it. If I get too close to it, I may have to do stuff like stand up out of the way in order to not hit a shank. I hope that makes sense. So, what's a good rule of thumb? Basically speaking, we want to have our hand, glove hand under chin, then we can begin. Does that make sense to you? So, if my arms are hanging straight down, hey, wait a minute. This club and this club shaft and this arm are going to try to line up somewhat. Right? You ever see a pro go from like low hands, Keegan Bradley at address, to way up here at impact? Well, that's because the club shaft is trying to line up with the left arm when you get to impact. If I don't have room, I do have a big problem with solid contact. So hand under chin, then we can begin, okay? And you might move it out to hands under your nose. Right now, my right hand's kind of under my nose, is close, okay? I'm a little farther away, but I'm definitely not here. I'm definitely not one fist from the butt of the club. That is too damn close, folks. That right there. That is me. My brain is just going ooh ooh ooh. Back up, get away from the golf ball during the downswing. Yeah, yes, too far away. I'll be tempted to kind of lean into it, and that, by the way, that's a second cool way to hit a shank. Just so we know. So hands under chin. Ball location right where you want it. Okay, foot flares. Right foot a little bit, left foot a whole bunch. Okay, then get the arms to hang away just a little bit, under chin, and guess what? Then give it the full treatment, folks. Oh, not bad. 0 feet of curve. Okay, I hope that that helps you massively. Now you have the grip discussion and you have the ball location and ball distance discussion. These are extremely important. And I'll leave you with one massively important thought, and that is I watched on the range Justin Rose set up. Caddy says, yup, walk back out. Set up again, walk back out. Set up again. Just checking his alignment. I saw Ian Poulter doing the exact same thing. It's a really, really big deal, folks. So much can go wrong just in how you stand to the stupid ball. Please get this right. You'll be a whole lot more consistent-ish. All right, let's get after it.